Hey everyone, TheGamingChief here. Today I'm going to be doing a video going over installing and setting up the zSpawnSelection mod. So as we can see here, I am on the workshop page for the zSpawnSelection mod. So as it kind of sounds like, it just lets you pick some spawn points or just randomly spawn whenever you're on a new character. I will link this workshop page in the video description as always. And as always, it's good to go ahead and check the requirements of a mod. This does require CF, as most mods do. And we'll see in the description here, it actually tells you need the VPP map or the expansion map as well. So you'll want to make sure you have one of these two. The thing about DayZ Expansion is it has its own spawn system in there, so I don't see why you'd be using this one with theirs. So in that case, what we're going to be using is the Vanilla++ map. Most people probably already have this though if they have some sort of mapping system. And I do have a video on it which will be linked in the video description and the top right hand of your screen right now. So if you don't have it, go ahead and make sure you get that installed first, as we won't be covering it, but it is required for this mod to work. And now that we got that out of the way, we'll go and remote into our server. And I'm just going to go ahead and shut down our server that we've been using here. As always, you don't need to be using Omega Manager, however, it just makes things a bit easier. We'll go into Overview. We'll go over to Mod Configuration here. And as you can see, I do have the Vanilla++ map installed, as we did in the other video before. So make sure you have that, or some other map with expansion, but Vanilla++ is kind of the preferred way of doing that. So we're going to go ahead and look up zSpawn, and it'll go ahead and come up here. And we can click the link just to verify that's the right workshop page, which it is. We'll go ahead and add it. And then this doesn't really matter from my understanding the mod order. I believe it might have to be under your map mod, so I'll just kind of leave that right there. It should be fine. We'll go ahead and save that. We'll go back to the dashboard, and then we're going to go ahead and install untracked mods now. So we'll go ahead and do that. So that'll download that from the workshop. And now that it is done, we can go ahead and start our server to save our changes. So it should go ahead and launch up with that mod enabled now. So we'll wait for that. And while this is launching, we can go in here, go into our servers, DayZ, servers, server 0 is the one that we use for the series. And we do see the folder has been moved here. And it does provide a for your server profile folder to move spawn select in. So we're going to go ahead and copy this folder. We're going to go into our profiles folder here. So this, will have your BattleEye, any other mods like code lock, your RPT files. By default, it's going to be profiles, or it could be server name or something like that. So we're just going to paste that in there. And this contains our config files. So if we go ahead and do spawnlocations.txt, we have some information here. And then we have spawn settings, and all that looks good. And then of course, if you're not using Omega Manager, it'd be the same thing. You'll just download it from the workshop, copy it into here like Omega Manager does. It has a keys folder. So make sure you copy that key over into the keys folder over here. That way your server will allow it. But of course, since we're using Omega Manager, it handles all that work for us. So that's good to go. And there are some settings in the config that we can change. However, we're just going to shut the server down, restart it up, load in, make sure it looks like it's working, and then we're going to go over a quick couple changes, and we'll make a custom spawn as well. And our server is back up, so we'll go ahead and join it and make sure that's working. And a quick check here shows our server. It does show that zSpawnSelection is there as well, so if that's not, you may need to requery it on the DayZ Standalone Launcher website. And we'll go ahead and join and make sure it's good. Alrighty, and now that we are in, we will just go ahead and trigger the spawn selection. So I will just select myself here. Go ahead and do that. And it would probably help if I wasn't in a trader, so we'll go ahead and step out of the trader. And there we go, since we were outside the trader, that would actually work this time around. And I'll go ahead and select respawn. And we'll do custom there. And then we'll go ahead and wait on this to go. Alrighty, and as I spawn, I now have this menu, which has a couple of different default selections, and you can actually zoom out on this as well and look around. And we can just select one. You can also do random, but we'll click execute to spawn here, and we'll get teleported over there, and we should be good to go. Alrighty, and now that we have verified that that menu is actually working, let's go ahead and look at some of the settings we can change and go ahead and get started with adding one custom spawn. So I have my text editor that I use Atom here open, so we're going to go into servers, server 0, we're going to go into the profiles folder, and we're going to go ahead and find that spawn select folder like we copied earlier. And we're going to go ahead and look at the spawn settings real fast here. And what we have here is the body block settings. So if this is set to 1, it will go ahead and block a certain spawn if your body was too close to it. So this is set to 1, so this module is essentially enabled. You can set this to 0 to make that disabled. We'll leave it as 1 so it's enabled. And then we need to know about how far we want to do this for, so how many meters or so from the spawn that they can be to the body. So right now by default, if they are within 3,000 meters the spawn of the body, then they won't be able to use that one. I'm going to set that to only 1,000. And then right here is how long to go ahead and set it. So this is how long after the body's there this will block the spawn for. 10 minutes is fine, but I'm going to set that to 30. You have to use whole numbers, so make sure you're putting 30 and not 30.5 for some reason. So 30 minutes is perfectly fine. We'll go ahead and save that. And the next is the locations here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to add another line to the bottom here. I'm going to call this test 1. Actually, I'm going to call it test 1, 2, 3 because you can have spaces here. That's fine. We're going to add an equal sign, and then we're going to go ahead and need to get some coordinates. So I'm going to go back in game for a moment. And then you can use any admin tool to get the coordinates. I'm going to use the vanilla++ admin tool. I'm going to press P to go and copy my position. And we'll go ahead and go back in here. We're going to go and paste this in. We're going to remove that right there and remove that from the other side. And so we have a location selected here. And then what we need to do is we can't have these either. So go and remove those. So between the equal sign, we just have 3 different numbers. So your X, Y, and your Z. And then we're going to add another equal sign. And then within how many meters you want them to spawn, because they're not going to spawn in that exact object. They're going to find a safe spot within a certain range. By default, it's 1,000. I'm going to set it to 1,000 as well. We're going to go ahead and save that. And we're going to go ahead and restart our server. Alrighty, and we are back into our server after making those changes and restarting it. So we'll just go ahead and trigger a respawn. And we'll click on respawn, custom again, and we'll let that timer go. Alrighty, and we are back here. So as we can see on the screen, we have test 1, 2, 3 shown here and the Green Mountain area. So we'll go ahead and execute that. And since we did within 1,000 meters, we're down the hill a little bit. That's perfectly expected. Let's go ahead and verify that the block for deaths and bodies is working. So let's go ahead and respawn ourselves here. And as we can see here, test 1, 2, 3 is no longer showing up because my body is too close to that. In 30 minutes, it will go ahead and let us spawn there again. And we'll go ahead and just do a random spawn, make sure that works. And by clicking this, it just kind of gives you a couple different ones. Here we are here. We'll go and execute that. And that's about it. It's a pretty simple mod to get set up. There's just, a few different things and some config changes you can do. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on the video or join my Discord server, which is always in the video description. Joining the Discord allows you to DM me. There is also a channel for general support where myself and others can help resolve some of the issues you may be having. And if you guys have any video suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below. Be on the lookout. There's going to be some expansion stuff soon. I didn't quite have enough time for this as this is a bit of a time crunch on the video. But we'll have some more expansion stuff coming up soon. And other than that, have a good one.